Hello, here's a video request from my man Trevor, who's going to live in his van too with his girlfriend pretty soon. That'll be a cool YouTube channel. Definitely subscribe to that. But he has a video request. What's the difference between 26-inch mountain bikes, 29-inch mountain bike, and then the fat tire mountain bike? I have opinions about the difference between 26 and 29-inch mountain bike. Fat tire mountain bikes, I think, are the ones with like double thickness tires and that are designed to be able to like ride on top of snow and stuff, and that'd be a cool thing to have. Mike has his 2 cents, I think, because Trevor invited Mike to participate. Mike, you actually have experience with a fat tire mountain bike, don't you?
Yeah, only an hour's worth.
What was that like?
It was easy to go up a staircase.
Oh, that's right.
I wish I'd been able to ride it in snow conditions.
Yeah, you can go right up the staircase real easily.
I'm glad there are more choices, Kyle, in mountain bike.
Yeah. And in those days, it was just 2 tubes next to each other, wasn't it? Instead of one big tube. Yeah. Right on.
1 tire, 2 tubes in the tire.
All right. And what's your? I don't really have anything to say about about those fat tires because I've never ridden one, but I imagine it'd be fun to ride on the snow. And I know there was a race. There was like an Adida bike race, and it was like skiers versus mountain bikers. It was a 24-hour race, and Rishi Grewal won it over the skier, but not by much. Anyways, that's all I know about that. But what's your opinion of 29ers versus 26-inch mountain bikes?
I think that they're both promising, and I'm glad that 29-inch wheel design is received positively. And as I told from you, I can't shy away from my honest feelings that the front end of the 29-inch bike is the biggest difficulty, and I kind of exaggerate that, but as long as you're using proper technique and getting used to what you like, a lot of the racers and a lot of the people going fast prefer the 29-inch wheel platform. And
what was your experience? Because you rode your dad's 29-inch around the block once, and
4 times now.
4 times, and you.
I don't like how it turns, but it's only because I like to pedal through turns, like Anne, Caroline Chassant, and many others.
Right.
And so, you know, there's those who can pick up so much speed they can lean through a turn, and those like myself aren't that fast twitch, would rather pedal through a turn. You just got to be careful of the 29-inch wheel because the front wheel is going to be closer to your feet.
It's going to hit your foot.
It happened to me, but in a way that I should probably get over it. There are really a lot of poorly designed 26-inch wheel bikes and 29-inch wheel bikes too.
Right.
So a lot of the makers will talk about how Gary Fisher and all these other people messed up 29-inch wheel bikes, the early designs. But you know, you got to be thankful that Gary Fisher and others came out with bikes after the custom builders, like the Rig and other bikes that entered the market.
Have you ever ridden a 27-inch bike?
No, have you?
No, never. All right, thanks for your input.
Thank you. You're welcome.
So anyways, my input about the whole thing is I've had 26-inch mountain bikes my whole life. You know, I've been mountain biking since 1987 when they first invented mountain bikes, and I've done a lot more mountain biking actually without shocks, you know, than with shocks, and shocks make it a lot better. But my experience with 29-inch mountain bike is I signed up for the 24 Hours of Moab, the 2010 24 Hours of Moab, and I was going to do it on my 26-inch mountain bike, and I did the course a couple of times, and then there was this other guy who was doing the race, and he showed up, and because I was camped there before the race started, and I did a loop with him, and he had a 29-inch mountain bike, and I noticed that I was beating him, and then we were going up this like steep, this steady like up a dirt road, and there was this sand pit, and I got off the bike and I was walking the bike up the sand pit, and then he just rode right through it, and then we hit another sand pit, and I tried to ride through it, and I'm hammering, and then he just passed me, even though I was a stronger rider than him, and then another time we were going to go up this big steep rock, and I was like, oh, we're going to have to get off this and walk, and he's like, what? I'm not going to have to walk it, and he just rode right up it. So, and he's like, yeah, you should just rent a 29-inch mountain bike. You'll do way better on that than a 26. And so he talked me into it. Oh, but then my bike broke. My frame actually broke in half, and so I had to rent a 29-inch mountain bike, whether I liked it or not. And so I rented one, and I can't remember which one it was. It was like a bottom of the line 29-inch mountain bike, but it was like $4,500 still. And I rented it, the day before the race, and so I'd never actually ridden it before. I mean, I rode it like one block the night before, and then it was a full suspension, and then I did the race. So the race was the only time I'd ever ridden it, and I rode it, and I noticed a huge difference from the very beginning. I went over that rock that he went over easily. I went over that easily. I went up I noticed I could go up the climbs better. There was more traction. 29-inch mountain bike, the wheel's bigger, so there's more tire touching the ground. So you have better grip going up, and I noticed that. And I forgot that I could lock out the suspension in the back. And I'd never ridden a full suspension bike either, so I had to do the whole race sitting down. And if I had remembered that I could have locked out the back, I could have been riding standing up, and that would have helped me a lot, because my knees were hurting, and I could have, and my butt was hurting. But I noticed that I didn't have to lean as far forward to keep the wheel from coming up with a 29-inch mountain bike. Like, there was more weight on the front because the bike was longer, which made it better for climbing. And then on the downhills, it was way better too, because there was this one point on a downhill that I went over this on my 26-inch mountain bike. I went over this ledge, and I totally endoed, man. I Superman flew endo, wiped out. When I least expected it. I didn't even, I thought everything was hunky-dory, perfect, and then next thing I know, I'm fucking flying through the air, and then I was like, and then every time I went after that, on my 26-inch mountain bike, I had to go down it really slow, like come to almost a complete stop, and then kind of be like, dook, dook, or else launch it, but that would have been a huge, like, jump, and I don't think and it was, like, really rocky on the bottom, so I didn't want to do that. But then when I went over it on the 29-inch mountain bike, I just rode down it. I just went doot doot, and it was like nothing. It was like going down a curb or something. And so that was better. And then I could notice that I could go over the sand a lot better too. Like I was kind of more hydroplaning over the sand and not kind of being like like spinning the wheels. So it was better with the climbs. It was better with the downhill, and it was better in the sand by a lot. Oh, and also the rocks, because it was a really rocky course. It was like these big giant rocks. And I remember with the 26-inch mountain bike, it was just really bumpy, like. But as soon as I got on the 29-inch mountain bike, I was just like rolling over it. Just, it was almost like, I remember I very specifically remember the feeling that I had and the thoughts that I was having. I was like, this 29-inch mountain bike is making this course feel like I'm not even mountain biking. It made me feel like I was riding on a road bike on like a bumpy trail. Like, that's how much of a difference it was. It was amazing. It blew me away. I was like, this is way better. I mean, if I had done it on a 26-inch mountain bike, I would have done like 3 laps less or something. I mean, it was a huge difference. The only negative thing I noticed was that, I don't know, it kind of made me feel weak, like not very strong, because there's more weight, more centrifugal motion. You have to start up and slow down again. So I was just like hammering and not going as fast as I thought I would go. Like I couldn't pick up speed as fast, and I couldn't like climb as fast like when I got up to like speed on like a good flat section. But that was the only thing. So that's my only experience with a 20-inch mountain bike. But after that, I was like, oh my God, I want a 20-inch mountain bike. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I went into the store, the bicycle shop store, and I asked them about it. I asked them their opinions about a 29-inch mountain bike, and there was a girl there who is a bike racer, and she said she had a 29-inch mountain bike and a 26-inch mountain bike, and she said she did all of her races on a 29-inch mountain bike, and her 26-inch mountain bike was just like her round the town like touring bike. So she never used it. And there was this other guy there who seemed to know what he was talking about, and he said that 29-inch mountain bikes inspire confidence. So So like they're good for beginners because when you ride a 29-inch mountain bike, you go over stuff, but in a 26-inch mountain bike, you go around it. So you have to do more maneuvering stuff with a 26 mountain bike than a 29-inch mountain bike. And he said that most of the downhillers have 26-inch mountain bikes because they can turn easier and around stuff. And so I guess they have to, since they have to turn like the slalom, but he even said the downhill. And, you know, you can accelerate faster too and stop quicker. They use 26, but he said most of the pros, the pro cross-country racers, use 29-inch mountain bikes. Only like on rare occasions do they use 26-inch mountain bikes. I guess in like really tight, when there's like lots of tight turns and slowing down and speeding up and that kind of stuff. But pretty much everything else, 29s is better, which is interesting because to think how it took them so long to figure out that 29-inch was better. But there's this one mountain bike trail. Oh, it's the mountain bike trail, the mountain bike video I did a couple months ago. If anybody's seen that, who's seen this video. The guys said that, I asked them what would be faster on that course, a 26 or 29, and they said a 29 would be faster on that. Because it has like lots of rocks over that you have to go over, and so you could roll over them, and you can't dodge them because it's single track. So you can roll over them better with a 29-inch mountain bike, and then you can get up to higher top speeds and stuff with a 29-inch mountain bike because a lot of it's flat. So I imagine that a 26-inch mountain bike would probably be, you know, like faster around the switchbacks of that course, and maybe on the climbs that are like steady, but as soon as the climb gets bumpy, the 29-inch mountain bike's better, and on the like flat stuff, the 29-inch mountain bike is better. And I would trust them because I'm sure they're from the bike shop. I'm sure they have experience with both 26 and 29. And the girl was saying also, she was there, and she was saying that a 29-inch mountain bike would be faster on that course too, which is like single track, like lots of sharp turns too, and lots of accelerating and slowing down, and a lot of rocks to go over in some sections. And so, I mean, if the 29er is better for that course, then it's probably better for almost anything. So luckily I'm not used to 29ers, so I don't really, whenever I ride that thing, I don't like wish that I had a 29-inch mountain bike. But I think that the next bike I get will definitely be a 29-inch mountain bike. It would be a full suspension 29-inch mountain bike that I can lock out the rear suspension. And that's about all I have to say about that. As of like a couple years ago, like 3 years ago, I think 29-inch mountain bikes were still more expensive and harder because they hadn't gotten mainstream yet. And so the components were, like the wheels and everything they weren't mass produced. But now, I even asked them at the bike shop, most of the mountain bikes that they sell in the mountain bike store are 29-inch mountain bikes. And when I was asking them the question, there was some lady, just a normal lady, middle-aged lady, like looking at a bike to buy, and it was a 29-inch mountain bike. So they've pretty much totally taken over the market. And like only like really high-end bikes are now being sold at 26-inch for like the sport aficionados who want to have, you know, who like the semi-pros who want to have like the 26 just for those specific courses. But now I think that I heard they have 27-inch mountain bikes too, and I asked the people at the bike shop what a 27-inch mountain bike was all about, and they said it was more similar to a 26, pretty much just like a 26-inch mountain bike. Now the problem that my roommate was having, what he said he had it with a 28-inch mountain bike, was that the wheel, since it's bigger, it like hits your foot when you try to turn it. I didn't experience that at all when I did that bike race, 24 Hours of Moab in 2010. But there weren't a whole lot of like sharp turns in that race. But if my foot would have touched, I think I would have like noticed, because I would have like crashed or something. But I don't remember that ever happening to me, and that hasn't happened to me on my road bike either. And it's a 26-inch mountain bike, so I don't know. I think it just has to do with like putting the cleat the farthest forward on your shoe, and you're gonna be fine. Yeah, it's a world of difference. Like when you can ride up a curb a lot easier, like it's a lot less of a bump on a 29 than a 26. And it's kind of hard to realize that with a road bike because you can't go up bumps, curbs that fast because you'll pinch your tire. But yeah, those things are like definitely, I think they revolutionized mountain biking. Fat tire bike would be cool to ride on the snow. Although, you know, I guess skis are pretty much almost just about as fast, so you might as well just go skiing instead of ride around on a fat tire bike, you know, unless you're like a total like bike nut and you have to ride around everywhere. Cyclocross bike. The people over there said that you could do the Batasso Preserve, that mountain bike trail that I filmed. You could do it on a cyclocross bike, which is basically a road bike with knobby tires and like bigger, like a wider range of gears. But they said it wouldn't be as fast as a 26 or a 29. It'd be a little bit of a pain because of the rock sections on it, and you can't power over rocks on those because you'll pinch the tire, and it's bumpy. But cyclocross bike is faster, like on dirt road, and faster than a 29-inch mountain bike because the wheels are lighter and you're more aero and everything. But it seems like 29-inch mountain bike is like best all-around bike. So yeah, dude, like maybe like probably like in a year from now or the spring of 2015 is probably when I'll buy a 29-inch mountain bike, and it'll become my main mountain bike probably. And by then I'll be able to buy them used for a pretty reasonable price. Okay, peace out.